Hello, Galaxy! I'm Chris Perillo, and you're watching the Locker Gnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short, and I am still using my iPhone 13 Pro Max because I had not yet told you about the video capabilities of this device. And the TLDR version of that is thumbs up, like gigantic thumbs up for the video recording capabilities of the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which is in stark contrast to the photo output of the same device, which is shocking to me. I would expect them both to be great, but it's like a completely different team worked on the video compared to the photos. Or it's like a completely different optimization, which makes sense. You know, one is video, one is photos, but this is good. I would go as far as to say this is a great video recording device. So if you are looking to the iPhone 13 Pro Max for video, you cannot miss. Now, remember, I had upgraded from an iPhone 8 Plus. I didn't use a lot of video, but my primary use case for this device was specifically video, mounting it as a webcam to my Windows PC that I'm using to stream. And yes, I am streaming this live on Twitch, as I do every night at 6 p.m. Feel free to join the community there. Links in the video description. But I mount this camera as a close-up cam, as an alternative cam, just off to the side. So very happy to run this through a few series of tests. And there's a reason people like to use this particular device, the iPhone, for video. But to me, as I run through this list, the standout is not what Apple claims it to be, but I have a different perspective. If you're looking for video clips that I've recorded or will record to demonstrate certain features of this particular device, the ones that I enjoyed, instead of broadcasting them here as I'm doing this, live to tape. I'm not a video producer. I'm a variety streamer. I will be posting them to my Chris Perillo Twitter account, my Star Wars Radar Twitter account, because most of the stuff that I do is Star Wars related. And then, of course, onto the Discord server. All the links, of course, are in the video description. Of course. Could I say of course anymore? I'm sure I will, because of course Apple did video well. But the feature that they touted most was cinematic mode. And I'm like, I get it, but it didn't really titillate me. People tried it, of course, because that's what Apple was promoting. But to me, the breakout feature is not cinematic mode, which is fine. Cinematic mode works when it works, but sometimes it doesn't. Cinematic mode is very much in gimmick territory, like portrait video mode. It's cool when it works, but when it doesn't, it's like, So, kind of hit or miss. Definitely more for those who love being on the bleeding edge of that stuff. I do not see myself using cinematic mode all that often, at least at this point. But the feature that I love the most for video recording capabilities, macro. Why Apple didn't tout this is beyond me, because honestly, I've never seen macro video work nearly as well with any other product that I've tried, at least, and I've tried a few, as I did with this particular apparatus. And so I love macro shots when it comes to photos, toy photography, and certainly being able to take video at a macro level is just as exciting, if not more exciting to me. So the macro video capabilities don't skip out on them. Like that is the power is understated. It worked so well. There are a few caveats, of course, with macro, as well as with a few other video shots that I've taken. You'll see some commonalities. For example, you need to steady your hand or set it on a tripod because there's not much stabilization, at least with that particular type of video. But the same thing would hold true with telephoto and wide angle. Not a lot of stabilization in those two cases. But still, it didn't keep me from enjoying taking a macro video specifically, with my hand without any kind of tripod, doing my best to steady myself. The macro lens did have some difficulty in focusing, as it does and did with the still photos. Apple is allegedly working on a fix for that, so assumedly it would also translate to the video capabilities for macro video recording. Great depth of field for the macro especially, and that even further immerses you in a different world, especially with the toy photography. I'm going to go back to that because it's like one of my favorite things. Yeah, if you do toy photography or toy videography, I will absolutely follow you in social media. Everybody else, well, you better, if you're not doing Star Wars, then I might not be following you. If you are doing Star Wars, I'd probably be following you. But great depth of field with the video capabilities of pretty much every lens that I used. The 1X certainly, a little bit with telephoto, and then not so much with wide angle, but definitely with macro. The slow motion video, average, really hasn't seen much improvement over the past few years. The thing you got to watch out for, especially indoors, LED, the strobe, the blinking, the flashing. So when I was doing that with toys, indoors, the slow motion, because I was trying to compensate for the lack of stability, I figured, oh, I'll just record, high frame rate and then just, take out like 30 frames per second. And it didn't work because the flashing indoors, which was a little disappointing. But it's par for the course. The wide angle is fun. The wide angle video, similar issues with telephoto in the sense that low light areas didn't work as well, but I had the same kind of issue with the still photos. With the telephoto lens as well as the wide angle lens. Sensors are different. So I'm just saying you may not be impressed with anything but the 1X sensor or potentially the way that the macro video is recorded. Because with the wide angle and the telephoto, darker or indoor areas that don't have a ton of light could be muddy, potentially grainy. Sometimes, at least with the telephoto, things may be just seem a little too sharp. Even though I kind of wish that the 1X lens was a little more sharp. So there were some areas, or sometimes when I was recording telephoto that I wish it was less sharp. And many times with the 1X that I wish it was just slightly more sharp. The selfie video was ample. Not much going on here. Wide angle enough. I mean, I don't know how big your face is. I don't know how close you need to get to it. But there hasn't been much improvement in this area. Not that it needs much, because it's just a quick selfie. I wish they would improve the lens, or maybe, and I know there's some devices out there that do this. There's like a little a screen on the back of the phone, because these are the higher quality cameras, and I would kill for a little screen back here, because I would rather take a selfie with this than the front-facing camera. So not much to write home about. It was fine, good for video chats, which is what you need from a video camera that's front-facing. But like photos, the video capabilities of this particular device tended to, by default, the auto white balance, especially indoors, this was pronounced, tends to skew to the warmer side, which is a little disappointing. It drives me nuts, and yes, I know I can change all that, but I like going auto as much as I can, because when you're on the go and you're on the you're not thinking of tweaking settings. You just want to shoot and go. So I try to go with the auto settings in every case. For the most part, with the 1X lens, just to recap, if I missed this part, I was more impressed in the darker areas or the indoor areas with 1X than I was with the other two lenses, especially not seeing that much noise, and the color was accurate. Just like the photos, the color I felt in the video was accurate, if only a little on the warmer side. Very smooth stabilization on the 1X lens. HDR works very well. Like, I couldn't get that to work at all, really, on the photos. None of the photos I took had it seemingly HDR or anything that I would have liked or kept. But the video, hit it out of the park. So if you're not taking HDR video, you are missing out. Stop taking video without taking it in HDR, because it's literally night and day. If you're not shooting video on your smartphone in HDR, get you a phone that does that, or get you an app that does it, because it makes a difference. It works very, very well. More important than video when it comes to recording video is audio. So the audio I felt was more than good. Not just, obviously recording in most of the scenarios. Granted, I wasn't in any kind of concert over the past week or so. But, the voice, it came across well, as did, the playback on devices that weren't native to the video recording. I felt the software was good. The software experience, I especially like being able to toggle resolution and FPS. I know that's been out for a while, but it was just something nice that I wasn't expecting, because I haven't used the video capabilities of an iPhone like that for a number of years. But if I only took video, if I was only looking for the video recording capabilities of a smartphone or an iPhone, this gets a massive thumbs up. I could see myself that if I was trying to get the right kind of video reaching for this device before I reached for another device, specifically in the smartphone range, at least as far as I'm concerned today. But I may find a better go-to for video recording at some point in the future. Who knows what that's going to be? Who knows when it's going to be? But of course, I'll be streaming those impressions live on Twitch and uploading the clips to this YouTube channel. So stay tuned.